It is Pastor Will here at Shades of Grace in downtown Kingsport, Tennessee, and you are watching the world famous Will and
Jimmy Show.
Tell us one more time, Jimmy, tell it all.
This is the Will and
Jimmy Show. All right.
Hey, I like that shirt.
Hey, yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, I just spotted this on Facebook. There's about 6 ladies in Myrtle Beach posed for a picture, and they were all wearing this shirt, except one had a Shades of Grace International shirt. Did you notice that?
Yes, I did notice that.
So we have about 600 of these out somewhere in, actually, we've probably got, I know we've got them in Canada. Do we have one in the UK?
Seems like we
Seems like we do. Maybe another country or two.
Yeah.
And this shirt that I'm wearing has been spotted at the pyramids in Cairo, Egypt recently. It was spotted on the Sea of Galilee and in a few other places. So if you're one of those persons who has received a t-shirt in the last year and a half, we've given out 600 of them. Let us know where you're at. Take a picture. You may be on vacation or in your backyard. Let us know where it is, and we'll do a little thing this summer, a little collage of all the Will and Jimmy Show t-shirts.
Yeah.
And Jimmy, didn't you tell me you've got a plan for a new design?
For a new shirt, I do.
All right.
Yep, it's on the list, the ever-growing to-do list.
The bucket list.
Yeah, but we'll get there.
Our bucket's just too big.
Our bucket is way too big.
Yeah, our bucket is big.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Jimmy has his famous t-shirt. I like records and maybe 3 people. And you're wearing flip-flops today, and I heard you say that you almost had to go home and get some more shoes or something.
You know, I am a person of routine, definite routine.
Yeah.
I do the same thing getting ready every morning. This morning was a little different. I got thrown off, so I left my flip-flops on and forgot to put my shoes on.
Okay.
And I was driving and realized, oh, I got my flip-flops on.
And you thought we would have an easy day at Shades, and it's been a wild day here today.
Crazy.
We're recording here on Tuesday afternoons. It's now 2 o'clock on Tuesday. Of course, you'll be getting this on Wednesday evening. It's at 8, I guess. But it's been an unusually busy day here at Shades of Grace. We had, for example, today, we've had the Ballad Health screening, and we've had at least 15 people came in off the streets to be screened for various needs. We had the ladies' shower open. We had the clothing closet open. The men's shower is always open here during the days. We were serving bags. And Jimmy, what did we give? How many did we finally end up giving out today?
I figured about 145.
I was going to say about 140 or so.
And I'm pretty sure that's a record. It breaks a record.
I think it broke a record today.
Yeah.
About 145 brown bag lunches. And we're ready to do it all over again tomorrow.
And you know, we were over 100 yesterday.
Yeah.
We were over 100.
Yeah, you sure were.
So thank you to all of the churches and ministries and groups that partner with us to make that happen, because without them, we couldn't do that.
It makes a world of difference just in getting the time to shop, to get the bread, to get the items, to assemble the sandwiches, and then the manpower, woman power, human power involved in putting them all together. It's very time consuming because we have to open up the bag, get all the kinks out of it, open it up, and then drop potato chips in and a pack of crackers and maybe a nutrition bar of some sort, or a piece of fruit, and then drop the sandwich in, and a bottle of water. So all of that's time consuming, especially when our doors are being knocked upon every moment that we're here. The phones are ringing, people are knocking on the door, and we could not do it without good and faithful volunteers.
That's right.
And I praise God for some who've just stepped up from within our congregation and just have just made such a difference. And we don't want to call names, but thank you. You know who you are. God bless you for all that you do.
We couldn't do it without you.
Yeah, because we are seeing an increase in our daily distribution.
And people always call and ask, what are your ministry needs?
Right.
We get those calls every day.
We do, yes.
So that is a need. The lunches are increasing. That's at such a rate we do need other groups and churches and ministries to partner with us, and all you gotta do is just call us.
Yeah.
We'll kind of talk to you about how that works. And
Yeah, and you could actually get involved in any phase of that meal because it's going to take several different things going on to make the meal happen. But you could always bring a case of water, bottled water. You could bring sandwiches sealed up in a sandwich baggie. Or you can bring the brown bag already completely filled with whatever you want it to be for a meal. There's any way you could do that would be a blessing. And some of you do ask how you can help. So
that's
there you go.
a good way right now.
Yeah.
Because, just think 145
Right.
bags today.
Yeah.
145 sandwiches, 145 bags of chips, 145 snacks, and that's just one day.
And when you think about it, and I know sometimes friends or congregations will put that together for us, often it's left incumbent upon us to put it all together, but regardless of who is doing it, any of those bag lunches, I would say if you were to put a value upon it, would have to be at least $5 or $6, wouldn't it, Jimmy?
Sure, at least.
Or $7,
Yep.
And so you think about it, say at the very least $5 at 140 bags, that's almost $700 worth of food given out in one day.
One day.
That's when you think about it that way, you realize that it takes a lot to get it all done.
And even today, after we were completely out,
We've had a lot of
we
people.
still had at least probably 10, 15 people that we provided crackers and snacks and waters to that we didn't even count in that 145.
Yeah.
A lot of people.
Yeah, and one thing about it, when it gets this late in the afternoon, there is a secondary place or a primary place where people can go to get a meal at 3:30, the Full Gospel Church, and we call it the 3:30 Church. But people can go there, and we'll usually offer them a bottle of water and a pack of crackers or a nutrition bar or something when we're not actually giving out the bags, because we could hand them out steadily all day.
We had people knocking on the door at 10 after 8 this morning.
Yeah.
The needs were already starting.
Already here. And I told Jimmy, I think we're going to go graduate to the white coat department and get our psychiatric certificates. Because we've been dealing with folks who are part of our congregation, actually, with mental illnesses and problems that has landed them in jail. And jail is not the place they need to be, but we're so lacking in health care, mental health for the homeless. And so many are falling through the cracks. Yeah,
especially long-term.
Long-term
there
follow-up.
are some short-term
Yeah.
options, minimal.
Yeah.
But there's no long-term care, and that, like you said, it's exactly what has happened with this one. It's finally wound up to where the short-term was not adequate enough.
Right.
And this person is now in jail.
Yeah.
And it's so heartbreaking.
So sad.
And then we saw mental illness in another area this morning, to where we actually had some damage to one of our buildings.
Had to have the police come. Yeah, and it's all mental illness. And we have a good working relationship with Frontier Health. We know about Frontier Health. We have one of the best relationships with them. Don't you agree, Jimmy?
I agree completely.
And we appreciate Finetta and all the people that we deal with, but they can't. The needs are so great. It's impossible for all of the health care needs to be met physically or naturally. We had a screening here today. We had Ballad Health here today doing it, every 2 weeks?
Every 2 weeks.
For a screening, and they've tagged people with high blood pressure, diabetes, all kinds of issues, just in these screenings. And then today, which is Wednesday, we've had another vaccine clinic here. So we're trying to be a holistic ministry, not only offering Jesus Christ to people, but showing them the love of Jesus by offering health care, offering screenings, offering food, water, clothing, showers, community post office, and even bury the dead when they're unclaimed. I mean, there's just so much that goes into a storefront ministry like this.
Someone came in late this afternoon and took a shower, and he hadn't showered in weeks. And he told me when he came out, he said, "Oh, I feel so much better." He said, "I feel like I just took a shower in the Jordan River."
Wow.
He said, "That's how good I feel right now."
And probably feel like he lost 5 pounds.
Maybe.
Probably washed off 5 pounds of
Yeah.
dirt.
Can you imagine
Yeah.
though? Like I shower every day, sometimes even twice a
Yes.
day. And if I don't, if I'm sick or something, and I don't take a shower for a day, I feel just terrible.
Yeah.
And can you imagine not having that option?
Right.
You know, and a lot of people are new to this area and they don't know because we get asked every day, "Oh, you do showers here? We didn't know."
Yeah.
And you can so tell these people are new.
And
to our
our
area.
workload here with the showers, especially with the men, has picked up exponentially just in the last couple of months. Don't you agree?
Yes,
I mean,
I think there were
steady.
some options in the area for showers that are no longer available. So those people that were used to that
Yeah.
have come here.
Yeah.
And it's definitely increased.
Yeah.
You
So
know? I mean, there were some days. I mean, I can't think of a day that we've never done at least one
No,
shower.
no.
But you know, we might do 2 or 3 on an average.
but we've
And
done
we're-
7, 8, and
We're
9.
trending towards 10 a day.
Yes,
and
every
that's
day.
just the men's showers.
Yes, every day.
Yeah, almost 10. We'll get to 10 a day here real soon, I'm sure.
And most of the homeless men do not expect to shower every day. I mean, many of them come in once a week. You know,
That's about right.
isn't that right? They'll
Yeah.
come in.
Yep.
But if you figure that out, 10 a day and maybe once a week, that's 50 a day. But there are a few who come in early in the morning. They have jobs, and we try to give them whatever they need to present well at their place of employment, and they're clean and neat. And I would dare say that some of the people they work with would be shocked to know that they're even homeless.
Right.
So
Right. That's
yeah.
true. That's true.
So
Yeah.
lay aside all the stereotypes about homelessness and just realize there is no one fix for any of it. Every case is as uniquely different as east from the west, and so you know it's all different.
And most of the people that we work with each day are so kind, thankful,
Yes.
grateful, tell us, thank you. Thank you so much for letting me take a shower,
Yeah.
and to just appreciate
Right.
everything that's being, offered to
Yeah,
them.
that's right.
It's a very, very small percentage of the people who actually give us trouble.
Right.
And that's with anything.
And most
We'll
of
have
that
trouble.
is literally mental illnesses.
Absolutely.
And they're frustrated, they're angry, they're impatient. They've been told no, that sometimes they expect us to tell them no, and they're ready for that, And just put yourself in that position for just a little bit.
And I'll tell you something else too that I've really seen a rise in. We help with birth certificates here.
Yes.
And we can help in some cases with getting a replacement ID. All the people here who are from different states has really risen. Like just in the last few days, I've had Ohio, I've had Maryland, I've had North Carolina, I had another Ohio today, South Carolina, and normally
And these are all neighboring states.
it's mostly Tennessee IDs or birth certificates that I do, but the increase of people who are here from out of state, Florida. Actually, we did one. The guy I was telling you about that took the shower from the Jordan River. He's from Florida, so that one we were able to do that,
Right.
and thankful to have this program
Yes.
to be able to order those.
Right.
Because birth certificates are not easy to come by. IDs are even harder to come
Right.
by.
Right.
And but just a lot and some. I was actually able to order a duplicate ID from Ohio, and was able to put Shades of Grace's address as their temporary address, so they would send it here, and it came in like 2 days. It
Great.
got really fast. She came and picked it up yesterday.
Good.
So, and therefore she can easily take that ID if she wants to and get transferred to a Tennessee ID. That's
Right.
very easy to do.
Yeah.
It's when you don't have one in hand, it's what makes it so difficult.
And they have to have this to get housing, to get almost anything, You've got to have that information.
And we have recently found out that people who are trying to take the Greyhound bus before they would kind of work with you if you didn't have an ID to get you where you needed to go. But do you know that we do not have a Greyhound station in this area anymore? Of course, Kingsport has been closed for many years.
Yes, 7-8 years.
About 2 years ago, I guess, Johnson City closed, and they just have a stop.
That's right.
It's at a Shell station. But did you know the Bristol station is now closed?
I had no idea.
I didn't know.
Really?
I found out a few days ago.
Wow.
It is permanently closed.
The Greyhound station. I had no idea.
So you can't go anywhere locally and purchase a ticket. It has to be done online.
Now that must have happened just in the real
Had to
recent
be,
past.
yes. I didn't know it was closed. This person had been living in Bristol, and he said, "Oh no, it's closed."
Did you verify that?
I verified it online. It
Did
says when you go to their Google page, it says permanently closed
Wow.
in red letters.
Oh my goodness!
Yep.
Wow. So no Greyhound in the Tri-Cities. Wow. Except the bus stop in Johnson
In
City.
Johnson City, and I guess there's still a stop in Bristol,
Wow.
but you have to get your ticket online, and if you don't have an ID, doesn't matter.
Wow.
Doesn't matter.
So people who are needing to get out of town, they can still get that online and then meet the bus at its stop and get on the bus.
Right.
But
If
you
you
can't
can.
purchase in person.
Right.
Okay.
But then that opens up another whole thing. If you don't have an ID, you likely don't have a bank account.
Right.
You likely don't have a debit card
Yeah.
to purchase it online.
Right.
And that's so many things are changing, and
Right.
and it makes it so much harder for these people.
True.
And I've always said that I don't think that I've ever seen a success story of someone who truly completed recovery and became clean to live a new life and return back to this area
Right.
and remain clean.
Amen. You've got to let go of your old connections.
You have to, right.
And you have to start a new life. Get away. There's nothing in these streets except death. I promise you. Death. And we're dealing with a lot of it every day, every week, with the death in the streets from drugs, from heroin, from methamphetamines, and from all this crazy stuff, fentanyl, and who knows, only the Lord knows what else. But it angers me. This is, and you know, the folks who are trying to make it in the streets, you know, I'm getting on my bandwagon again, but did you know, and there's a gentleman right now, just I looked at across the street, sleeping under a shade tree, lying down. He comes in here, he showers, he wears clean clothes, he works a job as far as I can tell, does the best he can, not bothering anybody, and lays down over there to rest and to take a nap. But do you know he's committing a crime just by lying down over there under that shade tree in that grassy spot? And anywhere in the state of Tennessee, that if you're convicted of sleeping in an unauthorized public place, it's a Class E felony with imprisonment from 1 year up to 6 years just for lying down and taking a nap. I mean, folks, wake up. Let's wake up and realize what's happening in our world. Right, Jimmy?
That happened almost kind of under the table, too. That law just kind of, they tried to slide it under where nobody...
Well, everybody's busy fighting about something else.
And, you know, I left a message about a year or so ago with one of our local representatives, not of this area, but he was of Gray, Washington County, and he was one of the main co-sponsors of that bill that passed. And I left a message, and he actually called me back within about 10 minutes or so. Really surprised me. We had a very good, cordial conversation, but there was two things that confused me. One, I asked him, and I didn't get an answer. What is it in your area that your people are complaining about with homelessness that is so extreme that makes you co-sponsor a bill to make this a felony? I got no answer for that. But his answer was he hopes that this bill would actually bring light to how seriousness the problem of homelessness is in our area. And I thought
that's a good way to get attention.
That's a good answer,
Yeah.
But there's got to be another way.
Yeah.
There's got to be another way.
Has to be,
You know, and so many people, I'll tell you something too, we're getting an increased amount of phone calls, people calling here thinking we are a shelter, or they've been told
Yes.
that we are, and they're seeking shelter and wanting to. What do I need to apply to come stay there?
And another misconception is that we have housing, and they call us and say, "What kind of housing do you have available?" And we try to tell them, everything you hear isn't true. We are a church. We are a United Methodist congregation, and we do a lot to assist people, but we are not a shelter. We do not provide lodging.
And that's what the first thing I say is, first and foremost, we are a church.
Right.
But we also do this.
And all the things that we do are really what churches are called to do.
Right.
Feed the hungry, heal the sick. Well, I haven't raised anybody from the dead yet. I say that tongue in cheek. But to help those who cannot help themselves.
I don't know, though. Honestly, there have been some people who have been brought back from
Well, actually,
the dead
there's
in this
been
building.
people raised from the dead in this building with the miracle of
Narcan.
Narcan. Yeah, absolutely. That is true.
Yes, it has happened. And while we're talking about this, you and I were talking about this the other day. We never did anything with this. Talking about there's starting to be some confusion between Shades of Grace and the Grace
House, yes.
which is
Each are on East Sullivan Street. Each bear the name of Grace in their title. One will be, when it is completed, a functioning shelter. But we are not the same as the Grace House. We've been here going into our 10th year. We are Shades of Grace, a United Methodist congregation, not to be confused with the Grace House, because we're getting a lot of crossover and people that are a little bit confused about how this all fits together.
And if you're not from this area and you're just arriving into town,
Right.
you hear Shades of Grace, you hear Grace House, you're going to think
And
it's
they're
the
only
same.
a couple of blocks away.
Right,
So, yeah.
right. So,
Yeah.
that's just something that probably need to be touched on there.
But our workload here is extremely heavy. We're doing all we can do with the volunteers we have, and we thank God for it. And things are working smooth. Jimmy, don't you agree?
They are, but
It's going
we
well.
could work 24 hours a day,
Yes.
Pastor Will, and we'd never be caught up.
We could open up an evening shift and an overnight shift here, and this place would be busy. I guarantee you, the phones ring, people would still be knocking on the door.
I look in the morning sometimes when I come in at the missed calls, and we literally have people calling all
2, 3,
night
4 o'clock
long.
at night.
Yes.
Yeah.
Some leave messages, many don't,
Right.
but they're reaching out throughout the night.
Desperation.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And you see, we have cameras up everywhere,
Yeah.
inside and out, and we can see at night. It can be 2 o'clock in the morning.
They're knocking on that door, pushing the doorbell.
Thinking and not realizing what time it is, what day it is.
Yeah.
Just there's a need.
Yeah.
There's such a need.
And thank God they've somehow heard that there is at least the chance of getting some help at Shades of Grace.
Amen.
Okay, Jimmy, let everybody know about our Saturday morning worship this past week.
We had, it might have been our record-breaking.
I think we had probably the largest crowd we've had since COVID, since we opened up.
It's not very close to it.
We might have had 2 empty chairs that I saw. I mean, we had a full house.
We sure
New
did.
people
Lots
every
of new
week.
people.
Yeah, it's exciting. It really is.
It's growing. It's continuing to grow.
Yeah.
And I always say, if you're not here, you're missing out.
You're missing
You
it.
really are.
Yeah.
It's great online, but it's so different
In person.
in person.
Yes, it is.
So much more.
So we want you to come on out. We're inviting other people in the congregation to sing and to participate in music, and that's happening. So we're excited, and we're having more and more of our homeless people getting involved, wanting to share their gifts and their talents in ministry, and praise God for that.
Yes.
This is not
Yep.
about who can sing the best or who's got the best voice. That has nothing to do with that. The Bible says God inhabits praise. And if we are so busy praising the Lord, then the devil's not going to be able to get his foot in the door. Amen.
There you go.
All right. So, Jimmy, what else? Let's see. We have recovery on Monday evenings at 5 o'clock. And we want you to spread the word. If you got any questions, call here during the week. Talk to Jimmy.
We'll give you a rundown of everything that's going on. And this weekend, this is an exciting weekend because this is the weekend of Pentecost.
Yes, it is.
So this was
Memorial Day weekend and
Yeah.
Pentecost all in one.
What's Memorial Day weekend? Is that a holiday?
Well, actually, yeah, Jimmy says that tongue in cheek because we don't get very many holidays here. And we will be open Memorial Day morning to feed the people. We will be here to hand out the lunches or the meals from 10 until noon. But other than that, we're not doing any transactions for business on Monday, Memorial Day. We're going to take that time off just like many of you will do.
Right.
So just know we're going to take care of the people, but other than that, we'll try to get a little bit of rest that day.
Yeah, but come join us Saturday morning.
Yes.
We do have a great service lined up.
Lined up for Pentecost this coming.
Lots of good music.
Yes, we do.
And I'd
Yep.
say the message will be okay.
Well, I'm praying for that. I really am. I'm having fun with it anyway.
That's
And
good.
also, I want to mention Pastor Regina's Bible study.
Oh, yes.
Last week we had
Yeah.
22 or 23 people on the Wednesday afternoon Bible study, and of course that was today. And we're recording this early, so I can't tell you what the participation is, but it's been great. And
So let me ask you a question to
All right.
everyone who's watching
Yes.
tonight. And Pastor Regina, if you're listening, plug your ears real
yeah,
quick.
and I bet I know what you're going to ask because I was getting ready to. Go ahead, Jimmy.
All right. A lot of people have called and said, hey, I can't make it to Bible study for whatever reasons. Would you live stream it? And I know that Pastor Regina doesn't like the video camera, and that's okay. But there's a way around that.
That's right.
We have this thing called the podcast that all of you
podcast.
know about. So if we were able to talk her in to letting us record the audio of her
Without
Bible
the
study,
video.
and would you listen to the podcast?
Yeah.
Would you support the podcast? That is my question.
So yes or no?
So tell Regina she can unplug her ears now.
Yeah.
And because she is such a wonderful,
She's a good teacher.
wonderful teacher.
Yes.
She really keeps you interested. And then I have attention span issues. She keeps me interested. She
Yeah.
really does. And everyone just, because we have a lot of people. She did this before COVID. And I mean, that was what, 30, 50,
30, 40
you
people.
know?
Yeah.
And a lot of those people are starting to come back. Some of those we've not seen in a while. So
And
this-
some, unfortunately, several of them have passed away during COVID.
and there's new people here too.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
that tells you what a good
Yeah.
study she does. So would you listen to the podcast if we were able to make
Yeah.
that happen?
Let us know. Put a thumbs up or a yes if you would
Yeah.
like us to do the
Yeah.
podcast.
And if it's a no, don't say anything.
And we can explain to you how to access the podcast. Or
Yes.
we can always give
And
you a
if, and
tutorial on
if
that.
you're watching us on Facebook, which most people are, when I do the podcast, I always put a link on our
Yes.
Facebook page. But hey, some people I'm sure are watching on YouTube as well. That's something to celebrate too, and really be
Yes.
thankful for. Our YouTube audience is quickly growing.
Is it?
Yes,
Great.
it is.
All
I
right.
mean, there for a while we were kind of stuck
Yeah.
in a little rut, as you call it.
Yeah.
And, maybe 15 to 20 views of each service.
And now what are we up
We're
to?
closer to 50
All right.
and close to 90 subscribers.
All right.
But a lot of people, the thing about YouTube and the difference on Facebook, you have to register an account. With YouTube, you don't have to have an account to watch. So if you don't have an account and you do watch our video, we don't know that number. So there could be 50 more people watching,
Right.
who have not signed up.
Right.
But that's
good.
That's a good option to have. But yeah, we're going to do that podcast here soon.
Shades of Grace, making a difference in the world.
Yes.
All right.
All
That's
right.
exciting.
Well, speaking of the Bible study,
All right. Yes, sir.
last week Miss Bell joined us,
Okay.
and she brought us a bunch of books
Oh, yeah.
that belong to
Yes.
Pastor Billy
Yes.
to share. And you and I snatched this one up.
Yes.
This is called "Oh, for the Life of a Preacher: Jokes and Cartoons." And these are little funny things.
And they just have the name Billy Bird written all over them.
Absolutely. Now, and here's the one I picked out for you.
Okay.
It says, someone asked, why don't you come to church anymore? And the person said, well, there are 3 reasons. I don't like your theology, I don't like your singing, and it was at your church that I met my wife.
Oh,
That's
all
Billy
right.
Bird.
Let me see that book there just a minute. Yeah, that's called "Oh, for the Life of a Preacher," and right here it is. Okay,
Yeah.
and so Miss Bell gave this to us as she was clearing out some of Pastor Billy's books, and I might say you can learn a whole lot from the types of reading material that a pastor would have or that anybody would have. And there were some really neat books. And if you never had the chance of meeting Pastor Billy, then I know that this reminds us a little bit of his humor. And
and we'll share some more of those.
we're trying to share these a lot, maybe every week. Okay.
Yeah,
very good. Thanks, Jimmy.
All right. Okay. Well, we are running out of time
already
very quickly.
Okay.
I have some questions for you. We'll play some Jeopardy. And hey, do you watch Jeopardy?
I do.
Did you know it's on pause right now because of the screenwriter strike?
Is it? Okay.
Yes. So anything you see now is going to be replayed.
Okay.
Yep. So
I thought I'd been seeing some familiar faces.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lots of things.
The writers are on strike.
And so we've got the real deal Jeopardy here tonight.
All right.
The title.
Okay.
This category is it's in the genes, and that's not like blue jeans.
Oh,
that's like
okay.
your
I'm in
genes
my
from
jeans.
your family. All right. Question number 1: what was Abraham told to do with Isaac? Was he told to
What is to offer him as a sacrifice?
sacrifice? That is correct. That is from Genesis 22:2.
Okay.
Say that 3 times real fast. If anybody
Genesis
wants to look
22:2.
that. There you go.
22:2.
How many days journey was it from Beersheba to Mount Moriah?
Oh, that I honestly have read, but I would say a 3 days journey.
That's it. 3
Is
days.
it? Okay.
Yeah, you got
All
it.
right. That was just a shot in the dark.
A 3-day tour.
Okay.
Wait, that was Gilligan's Island.
Yeah,
They
that
were
was
on
just a
3-day
3-hour tour.
3-hour tour.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Question number 3. Who accompanied Abraham and Isaac on their journey to Moriah?
Let's see. Well, does it give a proper name or just who
Well,
it is? It was a servant.
You're close. How many servants?
There would have been two.
Two.
Two men
servants. 2 servants or slaves.
Yeah, okay.
Question number 4. Who stopped Abraham from sacrificing Isaac? Oh, no.
Y'all go ahead and type in your answer there, okay? You biblical scholars. He heard the sound in the thorn bush nearby, and a ram had got those big old curly horns caught up into the bushes and couldn't get free.
That's it.
And so that's how the sacrifice was made.
And bonus question.
Okay?
What did Abraham call this place of sacrifice?
Well, the mountain of God.
This is kind of an odd question. What did Abraham call this place of sacrifice? He called it the Lord will provide.
The Lord will provide.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was the bonus. Okay.
Every name had a specific definition.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, good questions. I'm sure that some of our folks watching us tonight got those.
Somebody got that. Hey, Mr. Earl, did you get that? Are you watching us tonight? It was so good to see you in worship Saturday, Earl. Really was. You're looking great.
He does.
And we appreciate you.
Yes.
And I'm getting a call from the funeral home here. I'll call them back in just a minute.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining us tonight. Make sure to share with your friends, whether you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, so we can get this service out to the people.
Okay.
And thank you all very much.
God bless you.
Good night.
Bye.